Many of Nova Scotia's beaches are made up of mostly rocks. There is some sand too, but most of the action can be seen by watching the rocks as the waves roll in. Here we can see that the waves rushing over the rocks results in them becoming very smooth and rounded. The constant tumbling and impact of the waves smooths away hard edges. But how does that affect the whole beach? We call the process of adding to a shoreline deposition. You can remember this by looking at the word deposition. The word deposit is right in there. You can think of the shoreline as a bank and the waves and tides as making deposits into it. Can we find any evidence of deposition? The fact that the beach exists at all suggests that waves are depositing more rocks and sand than they are removing. If the opposite were true, there would soon be no beach left. We can also see the berm, the rocks and sand that get washed up at high tides and during storms. The waves and tides are also leaving other things washed up on the beach, such as seaweed and driftwood. This suggests that on shorelines such as beaches, deposition is the dominant effect of waves and tides. This coastline seems immune to the ravages of the waves, and yet, there is still evidence of the tides, and why exactly is the stone so smooth? These rocks have seen the effects of weathering. The combination of rain, wind, and water has smoothed the stone down, just like the small smooth stones at the beach. At the beach, we could see evidence of deposition. Rocks and sand were being added to the beach by the waves. But is there deposition happening on this shoreline? If we look down at the edge of the shore, we see waves and solid rock. There doesn't seem to be any smaller rocks getting added there, and we know the rocks need a lot of heat and pressure to form. There is no deposition here. But what about erosion? We already talked about how the massive rocks that form this shoreline have been smoothed by weathering. Weathering is a type of erosion. Erosion is a process that can eat away at coastlines. The waves and tides wash material away from the shoreline or cause the shoreline to weaken, causing parts of it to break off into the water. Erosion can happen quickly, particularly during storms, or very slowly, like with this coastline. The rock is very hard, but since it is being weathered, we know erosion is happening. These are just two examples of the shorelines around Nova Scotia. Can you think of some others? And what might be the effect that waves and tides have on those shorelines?